Hello, getting caught up on video requests. I didn't know how to read this because now they do it with like top comments or whatever. I don't know how it works, so I had to. Anyways, this is what Martin R. Cruz says. Hi, Mr. Pounds, how are you? I'm well, thanks. Next video request, can you please talk about your thoughts on regular marriage in general? Also, what year you got married in Chile, if you can remember. Thanks and have a nice day. Okie dokie. What are my thoughts on regular marriage in general? Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing to think about because all the rules in the world are changing these days. Back in the past, you'd get married and you'd stay married forever, and you'd get married to have more kids, to try to pump up the population as much as you can. And then, of course, the rich people would get married to make those family alliances to keep the power in the family. And then, in Asia, they have the arranged marriages. They still have. When I was in Chile in '98, they said most of the people there were still having arranged marriages, and it worked fine for them. So yeah, now that the world's changing and people, we don't need to have pump out as many people as before. And even so like there's really no need to get married, and there's no like economic need to get married, like man and a woman together to share a house, and there's just more social mobility. You can move around and from one state to the next or get a job, and so the only reason people would stay married their whole lives is because they have kids basically, or they just they're like really perfect match for each other, and it just stays like that. But I remember I was listening to this is a few years ago, Bashar the alien, half human or half half human, half gray alien. What were they called? I can't remember, but he was saying in their planet, they have marriages and they're married, but they don't think of marriage as something that when you get married, you have to make some promise that you're going to be married for all of eternity. That's kind of in the promise you make now, in the marriages. Do you take this person forever and ever and ever? Yes, I do. I make the solemn promise forever and ever. And then most people get divorced. So it's like, do you declare that most likely you're going to lie through your teeth when you say that you're going to stay with this person forever? Yeah. Most likely I'm lying through my teeth. That's ridiculous. But yeah, he says that most of them don't stay married forever. They have like 2 or 3 significant others throughout their life, and if they have one, then it's like, okay, well, I guess this is just a one-on-one, and this one, huh? So, yeah, I think it's kind of becoming more and more the norm of having you have like a significant other for like 10 years, and then another one for 10. Look at the celebrities. These people are probably could be kind of showing us how it would be in the future, because they can do whatever they want. They're totally free because they have so much money. And because nowadays people would get married and they would they would like share expenses, especially now they both have a job. In the past they would share work. The woman would take care of the kid and the man would go off to work. Now they both share the expenses because you have to work so much to survive, and so they would share the house and all that. So it's kind of complicated to get divorced, but with the celebrities, it's easy to get divorced and get married because they have so much money. And look at them; their marriages don't last very long. It's really rare for people to stay married. Like you can only name like a couple of those actors who do, like Tom Hanks, and just most of them just get divorced. And so maybe that's how it'll be in the future. People get married, have a kid or two together, get divorced, get married again, have another kid, just bouncing around. I think it is unnatural for humans to get married once in your whole life, or at least not married, but I think it's unnatural for humans to have only one significant other in your entire life. You know, like if you do have one significant other your whole life, I'm not saying that you're like a freak or you're wrong, you know, because there's all kinds of people. But I think it's more for the status quo person. It's more natural to have more than one because, you know, you want to know the inner workings of relationship and you know, the opposite sex and all this kind of stuff. And if you just experience one person, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna have any contrast or any kind of you know, real experience to know the differences, and I don't know, you're just kind of missing out on like a large part of the human psychology, you know, because you have like a tight relationship with somebody, you're there with them all the time, and to just know how it works with two different people would be I think is more rewarding for your experience. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people would like stay together and not get married. Like, haven't Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins been together for like 20 years and they just never got married? You know, like my brother's best friend has 2 kids and has been together with his girl for like 20 years or whatever, or like 15, like 18 years, and they never got married. So, yeah, marriage, and as far as the institution, you know. Some people just don't have other family members, and they want to be able to. It's the opportunity to be able to bequeath your belongings to somebody who you're not blood related to, you know, because you're hanging out with the person all the time. So it's like it makes it a legal way to do that. And so obviously, gay people should be able to get married because their relationships are just as tight as the regular marriages are. So that whole idea of you can't have gay marriage is just you know, those people just aren't thinking it through. You know, they don't understand. You know, I mean, marriage isn't, you know, like I remember, there was that Russian pole vaulter chick who was, when all the Russians were trying to go against the gays, she's like, what? It is man was woman, woman was man forever, and this is why. You know, just because it's been like something forever doesn't mean it has to stay like that forever in the future. The world's changing a lot, and so lots of the stuff changed. It doesn't take a super genius to understand that. So, yeah, I think, you know, I mean, like my ex-wife, her parents are still together, or they lived together until recently, not too long ago, even though they wanted to break up because they just couldn't afford it, you know. So, yeah, I think once we're more free, people will be probably averaging 2 to 3 significant others throughout their life. Unless you have kids who are like siblings, you know, like if you have 2 kids back to back, you definitely want to stay married until the second kid, you know, is out of the house, is out off to college on their own. You know, but that's only like 20 years. I mean, what if you get married at like 20 and then you have 2 kids, and by the time you're 40, both of your kids are out of the house, and then maybe it's time to move on. You know, it just changes. Now, what year did I get married? I think it was like 2003, 2004. I can't remember exactly. I think it was like January 2004, something like that. Yeah, we were together for like a year and a half and then got married. And it was kind of for like, you know, convenience purposes. And I don't think either of us really expected to stay married forever. We didn't really talk about it, but, and then I brought her back to Boulder and her son, and then she moved away and started a new life and had another kid. So, yeah. So I think people's attitude about marriage should be like, or even like having a boyfriend or girlfriend. You know, like don't even think about the whole marriage thing until, I guess, you want to stay with you think you're going to be able to stay with a person, you want to stay with a person forever and bequeath your stuff to them. Personally, actually, I don't think you should get married until one of them gets pregnant, until the girl gets pregnant. Because that means that now you're committed to raise a child together, you know, until somebody gets pregnant, you know, and or unless, you know, you think that when you die, you really want to bequeath your stuff to your significant other instead of like your siblings or something, you know. It just basically depends on who you want to bequeath your things to. Like, what if you're dating some chick who's super rich and your brothers and mom are poor? why the fuck would you get married and want to bequeath your stuff to some chick who doesn't even need the money, you know? You would just not get married and let your shit go all to your brothers. And, you know, but then if you have kids, then yeah, you would get married so that you would, you could share in everything and kind of make something, bind you together to raise those kids. I think it all basically boils down to the kids. But yeah, I mean, as far as like significant other and kids and all that kind of stuff, you just kind of live your life and kind of do whatever drives you, you know, like if all of a sudden you're super horny, then go out there and join the dating pool, you know, and if you meet somebody who you really like, then just keep dating him and keep dating him, and then if she gets pregnant, then I guess that's when you get married, get committed. So I think that's kind of how it was. That, you know, that's kind of pretty typical. People get married when they get pregnant. I know my wife's brother got married when his girlfriend got pregnant. So, but I mean, yeah, all these like super conservative people who only think that the Bible's the only book you should ever read, and you know, like chapter Isaiah, you shall bequeath, so therefore no gays. I fucking hate the gays, and it's like Jesus Christ, dude, don't judge. Yeah. So, anyways, that's basically what I think about marriage. All right, peace out.